photograph?
What is that, sir?
Can you see somebody in uniform?
1 second, sir. I'll highlight it. Okay. Yeah, we can see. Yes, sir.
This is a photograph I myself took of General Niazi.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. Memorable event, sir.
I have written in the rear of the photograph a close-up of General Niazi walking towards his car after receiving General Arora on 16 December at 1600 hours.
Okay.
He kept this expression on his face throughout the ceremony.
Okay. But were there any discussions or meeting kind of things, sir, there at the speeches before signing?
No, there is a lot of thing which is going on in the WhatsApp, which I am not privy to.
Yes.
They said he removed his shoulder epaulets and things like that. Please remember, shoulder epaulets rank is not taken unless you are cashiered. Please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Surrender ceremony does not have to. You have to do this. You don't have to do this. Because I have read somewhere that it was taken out, which I don't believe that it is possible.
No, I think no need also, unless cashiered, as you rightly said, no need
Yes.
to remove the ranks.
Because they are also from our same traditions of Indian Army, the British Army.
Yes,
there is no such a thing as cashiering or removal of rank when you decide. Yes, you may hand over your arm. That is, de-arming is a part of surrender, but not the ranks. So please.
Sir, for academic purpose, I think there must have been a lot of strategy or planning must have gone into about the surrendering process. So the way they handled it so successfully, being the dicey or sensitive issue. So what was the planning that must have gone into, sir?
Gentlemen, today when you think back, everything went off beautifully.
Okay, sir.
Even the guys who were killed, even the guys who were injured, it was as if it was all predetermined. Okay. Indian Army had several options. I came to know later on that several options. They had worst scenario case and everything worked out and written down. And in such thing was, one of the things was that if something happens in this way, what will happen? What will we do? If it happens the other way around, what will you do? So the surrender ceremony going off in that hurried fashion is also part of their strategy. It is there expected that it could happen because that last minute acceptance supposing he had accepted in the midnight, what would he have done? Surrender ceremony would have gone, he would have signed it at midnight somewhere where other people couldn't have watched. At least we couldn't have watched, where we were outside Dhaka. Okay, so the point is that this worst scenario case, which is discussed in the MBA all these days, the Army, Air Force, and the Navy had already thought of many, many years back. If this happened, what is going to do? If this happens, what we are going to do? And that, gentlemen, this is the actual surrender photograph which you have seen many a time. This is my own copy, which I just kept. That's all.
Yeah, no, yes, sir. And you can also point your photo, sir, so that people can see, I can understand your positioning in that photo.
Krishnamurthy sir.
Yeah, right behind General Jacob.
Right behind General Jacob, yes.
Go ahead, sir.
Krishnamurthy sir, can I ask?
Please, go ahead. Yes.
So,
unmute yourself.
Yeah, now you can show it once. Yes, sir. So the person overseeing from the shoulder of General
Jacob.
General Jacob. Okay, sir. So from our side is second from the right side. Second.
Yes, just before that Sikh pilot.
Yes.
The Army's helicopter pilot is, and
lone helicopter pilot to be present.
No. Behind me is an Army pilot.
Oh, I see. Sir. Okay.
Aerop pilot. Okay. There is one Air Force officer behind Air Marshal Diwan.
Okay.
He is an admin officer, Sehota.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And of course.
Who is that civilian, sir? Civilian in that person?
The mic is
sitting in the front.
Yeah, sitting in the front is like Brigadier Apte said, he is Surajit Sen, the famous AIR man, commentator and
Oh.
news reader.
Okay,
Surajit Sen.
okay. Right, right.
Yeah. And he was there. I mean, he made sure that he was there in the thing, recording everything, because All India Radio had the rights those days, because there was no other.
Yeah, no other channels.
Do you remember the Olympic hockey matches?
Yes.
Do you remember the Olympic hockey matches?
Yes.
Jasdev Singh and Surajit Sen were
Yes.
the combination. Surajit Sen was English commentator in the
English and
Olympics,
Hindi.
and Jasdev Singh was the Hindi commentator.
Okay, now I have one more surprise thing to show you. Can you see just the face behind General Sagat Singh and Air Marshal Diwan?
Okay. Yes, sir.
He's our ex-chief, S.K. Mehra.
Oh, great.
He was a wing commander those days. He was commanding a MiG squadron.
Okay, okay.
So he also got into our helicopters to see how the MiG operators, MiG pilots had strafed, damaged various things.
Okay, okay.
So it was his privilege, and this thing was there. So now, generally talking, there are about 7-8 people, or maybe 10, maybe 11, that where the face is visible and you can identify.
Yes, sir.
That's the one. Okay, sir. Any other question?
Yeah, were there any exchange of speeches before signing the surrender instrument, sir?
No, there was no, sir.
No addressing?
No addressing, nothing. He was sad, no doubt about it. And he had taken this decision after a very great amount of thought. Because one of the reasons which was told to him very clearly was, okay, don't want to surrender, don't surrender. Now, we will not look after you if the locals attack you.
So that could be
Indian Army will not. If you don't want to surrender, don't surrender. We don't mind. But there are people in this town, in this country, to take revenge, take the thing back from you, what you have done to them. Okay. So this was one of the reasons. It is better to be safe with the Indian Army as a prisoners of war than to get fingered by the locals. So this, they say, was the very, very important reason that the Pakistan Army in the East Pakistan under A.K. Niazi, that decided to surrender. This is the one which has made a statement kind of a thing in the court martial which took place later, or the inquiry which took place later.
Okay.
After all, he was.
Can I ask you one thing?
Yeah, please.
I don't think he had much time to think about anything, does he? Do you
Very
think?
correct. Very correct. He didn't have very much time to think. He was told very clearly, surrender. Otherwise, we just go.
Yeah.
Because they also have come from the helicopters from Calcutta. They have to go back. No one wants to stay in Dhaka. So
Okay.
that is how it took place. And later he revealed on the court of inquiry that yes, this is the reason that instead of getting into the thing, and no help was coming from anywhere. I told you, 7th Fleet was not coming, and UN was not willing to give a ceasefire order because they knew that this was very clear. And even if the UN had taken any stand, Russia would have vetoed it for us. Please remember, Russia was the greatest ally that time.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Thanks.
So the sweetest victory at quickest time.
Yes.
So
And
made history.
yeah.
Mr. Rao, can I ask now
Yeah,
question?
please,
to
sir.
the
Please.
commander?
I was. Oh, yes, sir.
Hello,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Wing Commander, sir.
Please go ahead. Who is speaking? Put your hand up.
I am MW Shinde speaking.
Okay. Vishwasji,
Did
boli.
you, at
boli.
that moment, did you feel or did it touch to your mind that you are being a part of history which is in making and which could be remembered and cherished for
Yes.
the posterity? Did you ever did that thought strike you at all that you are part of a history, whatever in the humblest way?
Sir, till the next morning I saw the photograph. I didn't know I was in the photograph. The newspaper, till I saw the photograph in the newspaper, Amrita Bazaar Patrika. I remember the paper. I had kept it somewhere in my house.
Okay.
It was a normal black and white paper. That photograph was in color. Please remember that. They were celebrating India's victory. And yes, after that I said, yes, I am part of the history.
Yeah, and totally, as you said, totally unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, till then, I didn't know that I was even in the photograph. Yes, there were many photographers trying to take out of all the photograph, one photograph is to be chosen by the people and put it in the world over. So it is okay. They say you are in the place, right place at the right time. There was no thinking. There was no right place and right place, which no one told me this is the right place. I didn't know it was right place or wrong place. I was only thinking it could have been a wrong place, which I told you my worries. Okay, that's all.
So I think as our chief said, you are the right person at the right time.
Right time. So and the thing, the feelings and my what I saw, I have put it in the first few chapters of my book. The TB, I requested TB to give kind of a small amount of talk on the book, because the book, please understand one thing, I have written it for 4 reasons. Okay, the final reason is the most important reason, which I want to tell you now, is the proceeds of the book. The sales proceeds of the book is being diverted, already being diverted, and it is being diverted onto ALC. For those people who do not know what is ALC, is Artificial Limb Center. Okay, it is in Pune under AFMC. I have decided, my wife and I have decided to give each and every
I think you need a lot of applause for this noble act, sir. Let us all give him a kind of applause for our Krishnamurthy sir for this noble act of donating towards our disabled heroes. Yes, sir.
And all along, as a helicopter pilot, we have been carrying casualties of Army, BSF, paramilitary, civil, mercy mission, or in the typical defense word, casualty evacuation, which we have done many a times. We have carried. So every time it used to hurt. Yes, somebody was doing his duty and he was hurt. And we are on duty taking him to the hospital. And Doc will tell you that, Doc, unmute yourself, tell me, whenever we have done a casualty evacuation, we have always had a follow-up to see whether that gentleman survived or not.
Oh, great.
Absolutely. Very good.
We kept a tag. We kept a tag. Whether we dropped him at Masimpur, whether you dropped him at Silchar Hospital, or whether you dropped him in the Aijal Hospital, we always kept a tag whether that particular Jawan, what was his problem, how he survived.
Correct.
So very few people who are saying, because for this reason, we never said no, or we never said you have disturbed me. Sunday, there used to be competition to go on. In any case, in Kumbhigram, place like Kumbhigram, we had nothing else to do. So when a casualty evacuation trip came, we said, yes, let us go and do it. So it was such a thing that when we did casualty evacuation, and it hurt me so badly, when I used to tell the people at home that my wife said, why not we give this money to Artificial Limb Center? You know how many guys, for 7 years, from 71 to 78, there was a queue for artificial limb. Till the Jaipur foot came in the being, there was a problem of, we had the means, but we didn't have that kind of technology to produce in mass scale to give hands and legs to the people who are lost. Now today, not only, please understand, not only the limb is being provided, but in the interior villages where the soldiers come from, there is a taboo. If you are armless or legless, they say, don't come in front of me. You are a bad omen.
Correct.
So they have taken the trouble of rehabilitating them and giving them a shop, computer shop, STD shop, or anything else, tailoring, for example. Now they are in the limelight of the village, town, wherever they are. Now they are not being disposed. Yeah, army man lost his leg. No, don't come. You are a bad sign. Now people are approaching them. They are giving them. So this money is going towards the rehabilitation of the paraplegics.
So hats off to you, sir, for your nobility in helping all these people. Hats off to you, and I wish all our various present on the call, others also, to buy the book and get the inspiring messages from it, and also help our disabled soldiers also. Yes, thank you.
This recently we donated from the donations plus the proceeds, 30,000 and 20,000 to PRC, Paraplegic Rehabilitation Center, and QMTI, Queen Mary's Technical College for Paraplegic Rehabilitation Training.
Okay.
And ALC. To the ALC, they don't accept money. We gave them 3 water cooler cum dispensers so that they can, this summer is looked after. Okay. And very many people who have come and asked me whether I could help them. I said, you can send them directly. You can buy the book, or through us, you can send it, because the final receipt will be on your name. If today Manohar Raju is giving money, it will be on him. You can claim your 80cc benefit. That also it will be there. And also you can keep it for your, personal satisfaction. You have done something for your brethren who have lost his limb in the war or in the peace. Now there are the rules in the Indian bureaucracy is that during the peacetime, if there is a damage means losing the arms and things. It is not on war footing. It is normal peacetime operations. The Jawan gets nothing. So let us give him the leg, let us give him the arm, let us give him the rehabilitation at least.
Yes.
So gentlemen, the last thing first is my request to you all is, it is very modestly priced as 250 rupees and it is only 260.
Do you have that book, sir? Do you have that book with you? If you can show. Yes. Through the rotor disc. Yes. Perspective from the helicopter pilot point of view as he views the world from that. So I have read it, really interesting, inspiring, and it will take us through that good olden days where we spent our days during the course of our service. Really interesting, sir. So such a narrative that you represent. So it is virtually taking us to those timings.
TB, if you permit me, I will read the last cover page. If you permit me, please. As helicopter pilots in the Indian Air Force, we always glimpse the world through a rotor disc.
Yes, sir.
For many of us who flew before and after the 1971 war, our world view was shaped by our experiences and the training we imbibed. Through the rotor disc hopes to chronicle the journey of a few helicopter pilots and ground crew in the Air Force Station Kumbhgram in creating history, as we helped change the course of Bangladesh war in 1971. The book is a retelling of our experiences in and out of uniform, hundreds of places we landed, and the valiant soldiers and civilians we ferried. We flew the helicopters and landed in every nook and corner of the country. Then we realized, sir, that pilots do not steer the helicopters. It is a destiny which does.
Exactly, the destiny which steers us. Yeah,
I hope you accept. Somebody said, no, don't leave it to the destiny, everything. He said, no, I am not saying the destiny. We get posted to Kumbhgram by destiny. No one is, I have not asked for the posting.
Yes.
Who told me to go and fight a war? Yes, my commanding officer told me, but not because I was pulled out from somewhere. It is the destiny I was present in Kumbhgram and I flew.
Everything happens for a reason. Yes, sir. And so glad to know about your noble qualities. And now we have the other distinguished guests who spared or who worked with him or flew with him, like our Air Commodore Sridharan sir. Yes, sir.
This is the quick tour of duty, which I said. It is the first page.
Okay.
First story on the book.
Okay, sir.
Right, sir.
No, quite interesting. In fact, you are so inspired by seeing that a limb center and all those things. Now I have already written my own book, TBR the Unstoppable. Now I want to divert all the proceeds to the same cause as you have done it. So you have become a source of...
ALC is a government organization. They do not accept cash. They want in kind.
Fine,
You
okay.
can give them, you can ask them, you can give them wheelchair, you can give them anything.
Yeah, that way, sir, whichever possible.
Whereas the PRC and QMTI, they accept cash. That can be any amount of cash they accept.
Yes, sir. So we'll do whatever they accept, but I am inspired by your act, sir. So thank you. And sir, now we have our distinguished guest in the name of our Air Commodore Sridharan, sir. So, sir, would like to share some of the joint sorties or missions with our Krishnamurti, sir. Before we go on to some other aspects of his life, Krishnamurti, sir, Sridharan, sir, you can unmute and speak. Share your feelings.
Yes, I had flown a number of sorties with.
Yes,
He's actually my coastmate also from NDA.
Oh, great. Okay.
So we had many great experiences, including when we had dispersed the aircraft just after the war was announced. We had gone to Aijal, that is in Mizoram. And then we got a message from there that we got to go to Teliamora, where the corps headquarters was. And we left it was at lunchtime, we left our lunch and we took off for Teliamora. Where at Teliamora, we were instructed to proceed to Kailashar. And Kailashar is where the operations were for the heliborne operations by day and then by night to Sylhet.
Sir.
And we flew a number of sorties during that time. Of course, I didn't fly all with Krishnamurti, but with others too. And I would like to mention that in the entire 71 war, myself and one late flying officer, Oberoi, that time, another coastmate of mine, we flew the maximum sorties. And that is why we were detailed to fly out of the 5 helicopters which went to Dhaka, 5 Mi-4s which went to Dhaka. Myself, I flew with Squadron Leader Karyappa then, and Flying Officer Oberoi flew with our CEO, Squadron Leader Sandhu. So we were detailed because we had done the maximum sorties.
Were you the part of were you there, sir? Were you present at the time of execution of that?
Yes, very much. I was there. In fact, along with Squadron Leader Karyappa, we proceeded to the racecourse ground in one army vehicle.
Okay.
And we came back in the same army vehicle only.
Okay.
After the surrender. But we were in that same ground and experienced whatever Krishnamurti has just narrated to you all. In fact, he was right in front. We were still mingling with the crowd. And the enthusiasm of the locals over there, the Bangladeshis, was tremendous. I mean, they, as he rightly said, they were ready to give us anything because they were liberated as a country.
Yes, sir.
And at that time, I even got hold of the flag, the Bangladesh flag.
Okay.
The initial flag had the map of Bangladesh on it. Later on, it was just a green and red flag. But in the red portion, there was the map of Bangladesh.
Yes.
I think they subsequently modified.
So now, how do you feel, or how do you remember or cherish that historic moment, sir?
Oh, yes. At that time, we didn't even think of it. Later on, it hit us, that we had liberated a country.
Yes, sir.
Formed a new nation, actually, not liberated a country. Actually, a new country was born by what the Indian Army and
So history of South Asia also changed by creating another democratic country, and geophysics or strategy, everything changed.
Yeah.
So
sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Okay, so now that history of you made a history being present at that incident. That incident itself, sir.
Yeah. No, that as Vikramanda Krishnamurti said, that just happened. Okay. Because we were there in that unit at that point of time. So I guess that is how it happened. So it was unbelievable as what actually transpired that time.
So, would like to remember any incident with him, the happiest incident with him during the course of the war, a kind of thing, sir?
He's actually narrated that story. That was the one with the casualty.
I see.
That
Okay.
was a Gurkha casualty.
If I may interject,
Yeah.
the return, every time when we returned, it was a happy story.
Acha, okay.
Please remember that, because
Yes.
the army, Pakistan army was there all over. I mean,
Okay.
even one fellow with one single rifle would have shot you without any
Okay.
problem, because we were flying low. We were flying. I mean, we were not giving any kind of serious thoughts about escape and evasion and kind of a thing. And to create a small amount of problem, one shot is enough.
Okay.
Yeah, Doc, please.
Okay.
No, I finished. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your participation and sharing up your views on this. So we, sir, Brigadier sir, Brigadier Apte sir is also there. I think he was also there during that time, during the surrender time.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. Firstly, my compliments to Wing Commander Krishnamurthy and to Air Commodore Sridharan, very dear friend of mine, for giving an excellent depiction of what actually happened and how Wing Commander Krishnamurthy, if I may, with your permission, sir, use the word squeezed past General Jindal to, come into the history of the Indian Armed Forces and the
Sir, you
surrender.
are partially be in the middle of yes, sir. Now it's clear. Yes.
So, firstly, that is excellent what Wing Commander Krishnamurthy mentioned. As an army officer fighting the war there, I'll just make quickly 3 or 4 points. Firstly, in the surrender, as Mr. Milind Wagre mentioned, Surajit Sen is the person from All India Radio. It will interest you all to know that when war was declared, when the first news came in on 3rd December about the Pakistani fighters and bombers attacking India, the first news broadcast came in from Surajit Sen, Borun Haldar and Lotika Ratnam. They were top class All India Radio announcers. And I must tell you a piece of history. Surajit Sen was taken in onto All India Radio by my mother-in-law, who incidentally had worked with the BBC London during the Second World War.
Oh, great.
She was a reporter in BBC London because she was studying at Oxford. And when she came back to India, she was one of the senior most people on All India Radio in 1947, when she interviewed Borun Haldar, Lotika Ratnam and Surajit Sen and appointed them. So that is one part. Secondly, in the picture, as Wing Commander Subramaniam has mentioned, there is one pilot of our Indian Army. He was then a captain, G.S. Sehota, who flew along with General Sagat and did great service. He later retired as Army Commander of Southern Command. He is from my regiment, so I know his heroic deeds. Third point, the helicopter pilots like Wing Commander Subramaniam and Air Commodore Sridharan have done yeoman service to the Indian Army.
Yes, sir. They really, yes.
Absolutely, we need to applaud them, because not only the special heliborne operations, but the heli lift across the Meghna River is absolutely classic. In fact, the Air Force, because of them, we could do the Tangel drop and capture the Pungli Bridge, which prevented the Pakistan 93 Infantry Brigade from reaching to protect Dhaka. That actually is the catalyst for Niazi to realize he cannot hold on longer and ask Yahya Khan to surrender. The other point which Wing Commander Subramaniam has brought out, the US 7th Fleet was sailing in even on my Khulna front. The 107th Pakistan Infantry Brigade, Brigadier Hayat, refused to surrender. I was there in the battle when we liberated Jessore. I was there on the minefield and in the battle when Khulna held out very, very strongly, because Brigadier Hayat, as we got to know from him, because I was there, I met Brigadier Hayat at Khulna and I met a lot of Pakistani officers. I was there at the surrender. I was, in fact, being a second lieutenant, made to run around for making the arrangements. I had excellent tea and pakoras with the Pakistanis. 55. And they were, let me tell you, very scared, and they were very happy that we had captured them. And that is where we got to know that they had been secretly told that you hold on because the US 7th Fleet will evacuate you out. But that didn't happen because the Indian Army just squeezed them through. And we also went and captured 2 or 3 ships in the harbor. I was there. In fact, I went on to 2 ships, and so that was another part. But what important point Wing Commander Subramaniam has mentioned, we were being sniped at even in Khulna. In fact, my own regimental Havaldar Major was shot in the arm. We were lucky that nothing hit us because there was an odd sniper, and some of them were angry that the Indian Army has taken the surrender. So they were shooting shooting at sight. There was sporadic firing, and we've had casualties there also. So what Wing Commander Subramaniam and Air Commodore Sridharan mentioned is that we were all fighting an enemy, some of whom had surrendered, some who were anti the surrender. So that was the tricky part. And finally, I will just say in sincere thanks and gratitude to the Indian Air Force, who have always stood by the Indian Army. In fact, later I have been a brigade commander during the Kargil conflict, so I know the value of the Indian Air Force because as second lieutenant, I'm sure even Wing Commander Subramaniam and Air Commodore Sridharan, we were all young officers, all of us from NDA. We didn't realize what were the strategic implications. We only obeyed orders, what our commanding officers told us. But later, as we grew in service, I realized the excellent importance of the Indian Air Force. My hats off to them. My great salute to you, sir, to both you and to Air Commodore Sridharan. And long live the jointness, the synergy of the Indian Armed Forces, who have actually been the bastion of safety and security of the nation. Even today, in the times of crisis, when we are fighting COVID-19, I think the nation has to rely heavily on its Indian Armed Forces. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. As it is, adding value to our discussions. And thank you, sir. And so now, can we move on to the second one, sir? After this war,
just one thing I want to add in this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please, this is one occasion. I told you, apart from the surrender part of it, this history will note that 1971 war had a great cohesion, coordination, cooperation amongst the Army, Navy, Air Force. We planned the war together, we fought the war together, and we won the war together and saw the surrender together. This is what I would like to say.
Great efforts, collective efforts from all the 3 forces. Yes, sir. So now, yes, sir, you served for almost 23 years or so in the service after commissioning. And thereafter also you are leading a successful life in the civil life, being a pilot of helicopters and expert in safety, air safety, then security parts of it, and doing auditing kind of thing apart from auditing the ISO certification part. So now I think you have fulfilled all your wishes in your life. And can you just narrate about your civilian life, sir, after retiring from service?
The civilian life, gentlemen, don't be disappointed. It is no different from the Air Force life.
Sir.
Because the basic discipline which has been inculcated in us takes you very far. Please believe me, it takes you very far in the civil life. Okay, even standing in the queue, even talking to someone, when you show your class, they come down, they don't fight with you anymore. They don't argue with you anymore. The moment the police fellow says, you have jumped the red light, but you are from the defense, he salutes you first. He says, sir, sorry. He said, no, I told him one day, don't be sorry. I've done a mistake. He said, no, sir. The uniform doesn't make any mistake. It is always for others. So like that it makes. But I must tell you that in 1990, 89, I took a license, civil license. And immediately after that, the Vayudut had taken over the forest department assets. So they said, please come. We want you to fly the helicopters. So we joined them. A few of us joined for the fixed wing for crop spraying and helicopters also for crop spraying in the. But unfortunately, what happened was the moment it is out of the government, Vayudut could not look after. So one by one, everything vanished. Suddenly, in those 2 years, suddenly the BSF Jodhpur said, we have a helicopter lying unused. Can you spare your pilots? Can your pilots come and fly our helicopter? So that was a great opportunity to fly the helicopter of BSF in the Jodhpur sector. Please remember, yesterday I was telling TV that wherever I could not fly in the Air Force, I flew in the civil.
Covered the
This Jodhpur posting, I was dreaming that one day I will get posting to Jodhpur. It never came, because after the war, people used to come and tell us stories about the western border. I wanted to see the western border. Now, who else could show you western border other than the BSF? The BSF flew even on the red line. No Air Force stops within 10 nautical miles from the red line.
Okay.
BSF says fly on the red line. I have flown with the IG for 6 months non-stop on the western border, starting from Punjab till Gujarat.
Okay.
Okay.
So your wish fulfilled.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. When I say red line, I hope people understand, on the million map, where what the pilots use, the international border is marked with the red line, a thick red line. On that map, that thick red line is 5 kilometers. That side, 5 kilometers. This side is 10 kilometers. We do not cross that line in any case, but we do not go near the line. But when the BSF chief is sitting on with you,
okay,
you can do anything. So in Jodhpur, had a great cooperation from the local SU people. We used to tell them before we go on the trip, and they used to guide us beautifully. Okay, again the cooperation which came for the thing that we had. So the civil life, when I say, it was no different from the thing. There, I'm saying as if I'm a great disciplinarian. I'm not a great disciplinarian, but it helps. Okay, I flew there. Then after that, I went and joined a company called India International. They had all the modern gadgets on the helicopter, where in the Air Force, we had not even seen the sight. In the war, we flew with one magnetic compass at midnight, dark night. One magnetic compass. That's all. And the magnetic compass never used to work. Okay. But this particular company had modern helicopters, direct import from America, with all the fixed wing instruments. We could go over Parliament and say, I have come to do ILS. And they believed you, because that particular company, we had gone, shown them, we used to call the controllers and show them the helicopter. We have this facility. We don't tell lies. Otherwise, they used to tell us, keep 10 miles away from the field, keep orbiting. I will call you when the airfield becomes clear. Now we were one of the regular thing. So that was a great experience. I flew in Delhi for 7 years. Suddenly somebody said, we are forming a company in Bombay for offshore. Would you like to join? So first thing I asked, where is going to be the training? He said, in the Bell company in USA. I said, yes, I'm ready to come. So that was a great opportunity. We went. There's a place called Flight Safety in Houston. Sorry, not Houston, in Texas. We went and got the ground training, then went to the helicopter Bell company nearby. They gave us a conversion. We brought in Bell 412 for the offshore in India. We flew for several years. And then after the flying, they said, would you like to do flight safety job? He said, yes, why not? So flight safety became important. Flight safety, suddenly the Indian DGCA wanted flight safety to control an accident to come down. So we said, few of us joined the train. Then in between, somebody said, why don't you go into the civil? I said, what do I go in do in the civil? He says, come, we have a vacancy for security officer. So I said, what is so? I don't want to do para duty. He said, no, come, I will tell you something. They said, introduce me to aviation security.
Okay.
That aviation security from 2002 to 2004, I did as a regional manager in Sahara, India, that yes, when they say aviation security, the DGCA had formed a part of aviation ministry, aviation security, and you were in charge. Remember the 9/11 incident in
Yes.
USA. So they said, we want to be prepared. Can you get yourself trained and train the youngsters? So we had maritime training people. Whatever we learned, we gave it back to them. Please understand, this is what we did. You don't have to do para duty, but you should know how to conduct the check. Remember all the checks we used to do after the check-in? Bodily check, the airport check and things like that. So those were the part. Okay, so that went in there for some time. Then after that, they said, why don't you do audits? So we were trained for the audits. Go and do security audit, go and do safety audits. You go and see how prepared the particular department, particular section, or the particular company is ready with this thing. So audits we used to do. Then after all this, somebody said, please come to my helicopter company. I want you as my flight safety chief. I said, okay. So become flight safety chief. 5 years in one company, 6 years in another company. So 11 years I spent as a flight safety chief. Then suddenly somebody said, when the ISO people come for the audit, we require somebody to handle. Can you get yourself trained? I said, fine. Train me. So they trained me. When you say ISO, it is international standards. International standard is on the quality. Okay, when you say quality, they say keep your flight safety alive, or any company safety alive, your quality comes automatically alive. And the quality and the safety are two sides of the same coin. They may not agree with each other, but they look after each other. So that I did. Then suddenly, recently, they called me, can you do the HUET course for me? HUET. Please note down if you like to do. HUET is helicopter underwater training.
Oh.
Why this training? Because all the offshore people who travel in the helicopter, if they have an emergency and land in the water, how to get out of the helicopter.
Okay.
So without scaring them that helicopter flying is dangerous, we teach that this can happen anywhere. Like we have electricity and gas chula at home. We know that those things can go bad, but we are handling that very carefully. So similar way, we say, learn how to fly in the helicopter, how to get out of the helicopter, and then we also tell them how to get onto the dinghy, raft. So these are the things we do now. I am extremely happy because every day I conduct e-classes theory. And once in 2 weeks I go, even in the COVID times, I go to the swimming pool in the company, stand and assess. I did assessors course with the Shipping Corporation of India. So every time, every turn, there is a learning process. Every time there is a learning process, and after that you feel so happy. Yes, I learned this, and you give back. You give back again.
Exactly, sir. You
Then
get
someone else comes.
Yeah, you get a lot
Yes.
of satisfaction when you are able to give back to the society whatever you have learned or whatever the expertise, whatever you have learned. It's really a great thing.
Yes. Somebody came and said, can you train the men offshore? He said, what is your? They are like anyone else. We will train them. So we have something called BOSIET, Basic Offshore Safety Induction and Emergency Training. So we have all this. I am very, very happy personally, mentally satisfied doing this job. Till Tibra found me out and said, please come and tell us what you do. So this is, I am very proud to be amongst you people. Only thing is I want to tell a few words on my book, which Rao will take over now.
So once again, sir, somebody wants to know your book. Once again, you can tell Premud said through the rotor.
Through the rotor disc. So
through the rotor
somebody asked me, why this funny name? What is this disc? I said, have you seen a helicopter flying ever? Or have you seen a ceiling fan flying?
Yes.
It is making disc. It is making a disc. When you rotate a blade, when you think and it is rotating. So like a fixed wing, like Quatra Sahib looked at the horizon to fly. Helicopter guys look at the disc to fly.
Yes.
When I tilt the disc to left, it goes left. When I tilt the disc to the right, it goes right. When I tilt the disc up, it climbs. When I tilt the disc, it comes down. So our conditioning, our thinking has been through the disc. Even the normal thing we see today in the civil life is through the disc.
Thank
so
you.
Much so
Yeah, thank you, sir. I think we are almost into end of this program, 2 hours.
End of this program. I know that.
Interesting and adventurous subject that we cannot forgo. That is our expedition to Antarctica, sir. If you can say something.
You give me another day, some half an hour Antarctica expedition.
We'll continue, sir. No issue. We'll continue.
It's the most beautiful experience as landlubbers. You know what is a landlubber? We were in the ship for 4 months. Please believe me. Through the roaring 40s in the cold area of Antarctica, crossing equator. We will tell you all. It was very interesting, and read the book. In the meanwhile, you will understand better.
Yeah, definitely.
And
before you conclude, I would like to say something.
Madam, yes.
You're all experienced people from defense. Because my brother is in defense, he was in helicopter unit. I'm aware of everything happening in war, civil time, and all that. Now the children are exposed to computers so much, online classes and all that. I would like the children, grandchildren to know what is really happening in the defense, how a war is met, how people are given experience, trained, everything, so that they know the importance of giving respect to those people, not only wearing lipstick and sleeveless blouses and going to parties. It is more than that. And one lady from Tamil Nadu once remarked, why do you show only parties when you show defense in cinema?
Yes.
You only show parties. People enjoying. So people think all the time they enjoy. They don't do any work. So this awareness should be brought to the people. Now it is very easy because of online classes are there and the children are used to computers. Some tip can show so that they also understand.
Yes, that's a good advice.
Yeah, definitely, madam, definitely. And we are also trying to bring awareness in the people, particularly the youngsters also. And the book our sir has written that will go a long way in creating a lot of awareness. We'll also try to create an awareness for that book as well, so that people know what